to Football Fanbox. I'm your host, John Hightower, and this is the show that celebrates everything that is football in Las Vegas. Now, today's show, we're going to have conversation about the Super Bowl yesterday and Tom Brady and how he looked in it. Also, we're going to be previewing the guests we're going to be having. One is Marlon Greenwood. The other gentleman is Lyndon King. Both linebackers and great players, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, baby. Now, as promised, we're going to get into the Super Bowl. The Rams, you messed up my Super Bowl. All you had to do was run the ball consistently, and you would have had a much better day. Today could have been a brighter day had you stuck to the running game the way you were supposed to. Now, don't get me wrong. I was rooting for New England. I had my money on New England, but the Rams could have made that a much better game if they wanted to. All they had to do was stick to the running game, and it would have forced a high-scoring game. New England plays to your level up until that second half, and then they do what they need to do to win. The Rams, you didn't do anything you needed to do to win the game. You run the ball. You have Gurley. He's a stud. Use him. You don't have to run him all the time up the middle. You can give him some passes out to the wing. You can give him crossing routes. You can make him a wide receiver. You can do a ton of things with him that you didn't do. You just ran him twice. You gave it to C.J. Anderson. Then you ran him two more times, and you called it a day. You stick with that kind of a running back. You throw him passes. You let him get lathered up with sweat. And then in the second half, you can ride him as this though he's Seabiscuit. Ride him like Seabiscuit. You don't give him a couple of handoffs and worry if he's injured. If he's injured, he'll be better next season. He has all year to heal up. And as for Mr. Brady, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest to ever play. No one is ever going to be on his level. But yesterday, he did not look himself. I'm sorry. If you watched that game and you're honest with yourself, you saw the ghost of Christmas future because he looked his age yesterday. And I'm sorry to say it, but he did. He was not comfortable. He wasn't settled in. He wasn't making smart decisions that he normally makes. Everybody's entitled to a bad day, and I am hoping that's what it was. Because Brady is the greatest quarterback to ever play this game. And I had an electric football set with Joe Montana was king. Joe Montana was the greatest football player in my mind, and I have to admit now that it's Brady. I admitted it 2 years ago, and I'm gonna keep up with that. Brady is the best to ever play. Now, the halftime show, yes, it wasn't as good as we all wanted it to be, but everything can't be great. They all came out. They did their jobs. They did the best they could. Next year, the NFL will definitely get something a little bit more energetic for the fans. But they did the best they could. It just wasn't what we were expecting and wasn't what we liked. Gladys Knight, great show starter. That young lady still has the voice and the lungs of a 20-year-old. Great job, Gladys. You were awesome. And the two young ladies that preceded you, they were phenomenal. I'm proud of you young ladies, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. I am for one excited to see what you do. Now, if you're wondering who the two gentlemen behind me are, one is Lyndon King. He played 13 years in the NFL, 9 for the San Diego Superchargers, and 4 for the Oakland Raiders. Also, Mr. Marlon Green was a stud linebacker and a heck of a high school wrestling champion. You're going to be seeing him on the show in the upcoming weeks, so I want you to stay tuned. And below, you see the emails where you can write in letters. Send us questions for these two gentlemen, and we will get them answered for you because that's what we do. And before I forget, Football Fanbox will be back next season better than ever, so get ready. So for all you kids getting ready for football season, drink your water, exercise, eat right, because we're going to put you on a show like you've never seen before. So get ready. And before I go, I have to get this off my chest. The MVP of the Super Bowl should not have been Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman's a stud. He's a baller. He's a playmaker, but he does not deserve that MVP. When it's a 13-3 game, you don't even look to the offensive side of the ball to give it MVP. That's how Eli snuck one in a couple of years ago. You give it to the defense. The defense deserved that Super Bowl. You hold the Rams to 3 points, and you give the offensive player, you got to look at yourself in the mirror. Anybody who voted for the MVP this year should be revoked for next year because that was horrible. That's horrible. You give it to the defense. And if you're one of those people that say, oh, we can't give it to the entire defense, you give it to the defensive captain, you give it to his mother, you give it to his cousin Lisa. But you do not give it to an offensive player when the defense of New England played like that. Give it to Hightower. I like that guy. Something about him I really enjoy. Now, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Don't forget, email us, send us your questions, and we'll be ready for you. Take care. Stay safe.